Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and it's going to continue because tomorrow there's going to be no trading. And the question is, what are we going to be doing? I'm probably just going to be twiddling my thumbs as we look even at Palantir. Nothing's going to be happening to it. So we're going to have to wait till Tuesday. But in this video, we're going to be doing a breakdown on some of the three important key factors that could be an important catalyst for Palantir's success in 2024. And also acknowledge one of the biggest criticisms that we've talked about a lot on the channel, that it's still out there. However, a possible justification on why the stock could continue to soar. Now, if you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. So checking in here, you can see we also have an upgrade here. New plant and the neck beard is shaved. Now, if we pop up on here, Palantir at 24.44, pop it up on the screen. This is where we closed at the Friday market close, and actually a little bit in the red here with the actual indexes, NASDAQ, S&P, Dow Jones, all down about 0.5%. It'll be interesting to see what happens, especially with that continued day of non-trading. Now with Palantir, we saw about this 3.82% drop. One of the big questions and uncertainties out there right now in the world is what is going to be happening with interest rates, because inflationary data keeps coming in hotter than expected. And now the probability of cutting those interest rates are continuing to dwindle in terms of March. And people are saying, hey, this may not be happening until later in the year. And with that being said, you're still seeing lots of stocks like Palantir and Nvidia continuing to soar. Palantir right now is up at $24. It could possibly see some support here at the 24. You see micro levels of support here. However, I would not give this a strong support level in any way, shape, or form, because Palantir has recently climbed above the 20s. Even though this is a great accomplishment, only down about 3.82% with the inflationary data that we have seen, it's doing better than I actually expected in the 20s, which is really great for the bulls out there. And what we do see with Palantir is possibly some catalysts that could push it up into the 30s. And especially if we quickly toggle over here to options, even for expirations at the end of the new week that's going to be coming here, February 23rd, you have a lot of call volume at the $25 and the $26 strike price. But if we toggle over here, talking about three encouraging signs for Palantir Technologies that could send the stock even higher. Now, Motley Fool comes out with this, talking about the actual significant improvements for Palantir that we've seen from last quarter. Number one here is actually the cash flow that we have seen. And in the fourth quarter, Palantir has had an operating cash flow of $301 million. And year over year, the operating cash flow is up 282%. Holy Toledo. And this is really, I want to say, great, as Palantir has a wonderful balance sheet with a lot of cash on hand to have those reserves when times get tricky, and to have a lot of money to dive into future resources as they are a leader competitor in the AI industry. And if you see right here, commercial revenue is rising on top of that. And we talked about this on the channel a few times. If you're new to the channel, I think this is one of the key catalysts for Palantir's success. We saw that 70% increase. That was a big number, one of the biggest numbers that we saw for quarter four. And what AIP and its potential, and what we're seeing happening right now before our eyes, is AIP has been a big successor for PLTR, getting involved into the private sector and diversifying their client base. And what this entail doing is making their profit margins look great. As we saw in quarter four, Palantir's net income totaled $96.9 million, which was 15.9% of its top line. So I really agree with these three metrics here, talking about why Palantir can still continue to have great success. However, let's talk about possibly the dip situation and what we could see in the Seeking Alpha article here, talking about the three stocks I can't wait to buy on the dip. But before we get too far, now let's take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Seeking Alpha. And as you guys have probably seen, I actually utilize Seeking Alpha on a daily basis to conduct all my research and to create content for you guys in the most non-biased approach that I can possible. And what I love about Seeking Alpha, and as we've particularly been looking at Palantir within the last few months, is that their data analytics gives me nearly any piece of information that I want to know about our particular stock. And this goes across the board for thousands of different stocks. You get exclusive access to things like earnings transcripts. You also get the bullish and the bearish perspective with many different analysts here. So that way you guys can actually formulate your own opinions and take your own positions on a particular stock. I really like Seeking Alpha because any information that I need, I can get it on there. So if you want access to this kind of data, make sure you check out my affiliate link down below. You get 20% off using that link, and that comes with a free 7-day trial. Check out the link, and I don't think you guys will be disappointed. Back to the video. And back in the video here, this Seeking Alpha article writer right here talks about Palantir possibly waiting for the dip is a good potential, especially for that long-term plays if it retraces at some point of the jump. And why any possible dip could be here is because the momentum that we've seen in Palantir is that it did go from this gap that was created down here, basically at the 16s, all the way starting here at the 20s and continue to accelerate. Now, if we zoom out on Palantir, let's quickly, not saying history always repeats itself, but if we look to see what happened last quarter, this is last quarter right here, from 14s all the way to the 17s up to 21, and a little bit of a retracement. If this continues moving into that same type of behavior like trading pattern, we could potentially see a pullback here, possibly at the 20s. And even this long-term play could be very beneficial for those that are looking to get more into a value-oriented type of stock. But that's going to be one of the biggest criticisms that we'll address here in a second. And I really like this quote here from Warren Buffett saying that most people get interested in stocks when everyone else is. The time to get interested is when no one else is. Be greedy when other people are fearful, and be fearful when other people are greedy. It's another big quote that I do like seeing out there in the world. And where this continues on Palantir Technologies, possibly having a 13% downside. We're going to be talking about the reasoning behind this and where this is coming from. This is an HSBC analyst here, Stefan Bursey, that is downgraded the stock to buy to a hold with a $22 price target. Now that's actually really great because the price targets across all the analysts have actually increased in the previous year. And one of the biggest criticisms that they're giving on here on why they're downgrading the price target, we'll bring it up here, is the valuation, saying that it trades at a really high price, 76 times its price to earnings ratio, and basically saying that this is more than double than other stocks where it follow. Right now, I think the actual valuation is being thrown out the window with many of these tech and AI stocks. We're seeing the rally that is continuing across as the AI demand continues to trickle into the market. Look at NVIDIA, for example. Look at this explosion that we've seen. 726 at the last close. Basically, a few months ago, we were down here at 463. Keep that in mind. Right now, valuation, a lot of momentum is pushing in. The question is, when this correction or pullback does happen, is what kind of an opportunity that could bring there for the long-term investors. And this is not making me a bear on Palantir at all. If we specifically look at here, its valuation always has been at a high valuation for Palantir. That's probably not going to change. If you look at the Seeking Alpha Quant Ratings right here, Wall Street and Quant rated as a hold, Seeking Alpha analyst rating at a buy. But you can see here, even back in 22, look at its valuations. D, getting a D right there. And this continues across the board. Even at $12, Palantir has a valuation of a D. This continues, it changes to an F right here. You can see everything else, however, is looking really good. Growth, profitability, momentum, and a big bullish catalyst, earnings per share revisions, getting great grades. But the valuation always at a D or an F right here. And one of the big reasons why we're seeing this valuation continue to be high is because the valuations, in my opinion, are what the future, it's a gauge, what the future gauge that analysts are expecting Palantir to report for their upcoming earnings. I know that was a mouthful. Do we keep thinking that Palantir is going to report excellent earnings? Do we think they are a leading competitor in the AI industry? The majority of the market thinks this right now. With that, carries a high valuation. Why? Because a lot of investors are paying a high premium right now for this stock. And it could grow into its valuation. If it continues to grow, if we're seeing the outlook, the earnings and the gap profitability, they are proving it. They're beating the Wall Street analyst. Whatever the bar is being set, they continue to set a higher above that bar. So we'll see what happens. I'll catch you guys later. Have a great week. And tell me, what are you guys going to be doing tomorrow if there's no trading? Peace out.